Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and today we have, well, it's getting to be a little bit more obscure these days, but we've got some more obscurities and literature for you, as always, because it is a Friday, and seeing as how I finally got a hold of some of the new Warmachine Mark IV models, which we'll have on the channel at some point in the near future, because that's usually what we have on this channel, but I can't help myself, and I love books almost as much as I love building and painting figures and models that rarely get played with anymore in games. But, oh man, do I ever love me a good, thick, nerdy source book for tabletop RPGs. And this right here is gotta be one of my all-time favorites. And this is the Iron Kingdom's Character Guide, Volume 1 of the Full Metal Fantasy, which a lot of us may recognize from the creator's Privateer Press. So yeah, like I said, finally got a hold of some of the new Warmachine Mark IV figures. We'll have those videos coming up. But that prompted me to bust these books out again, and I know I just had like the airship campaigns from Arcane Minis on here, and I've been in a bit of an RPG book mood. So busting these out, and I'm hard-pressed to tell which is my favorite. So there were quite a few Iron Kingdom's releases prior to the full release of Warmachine. I don't know if it was out at the time of this, and I mean, this book was 2004, so we're almost getting on 20 years here. That's pretty wild. We'll talk about the book underneath it there in a sec. Yep, summer of 2004. These are the early RPG figures, not even the actual war game. But I guess the war game was out already. I don't remember anymore. I don't even think my kids were born in 2004. Yeah, they weren't. So I was busy into the music scene and too cool for games, I guess, at that time. Anyways, what I've always loved about this book is it really absolutely lays down the groundwork for all of the, stuff that follows in the Iron Kingdoms. And I mean, this is pretty thick book. This is way more of the typical, character guide, like the book says. But the amount of artwork, sadly, which is in black and white, but just the amount of, game content, background lore, and if you're into that kind of stuff, I think these books, and I'm hard-pressed to say which is the better choice if you were just to get one of them. If you've ever been interested in the Iron Kingdoms, in Warmachine, Hordes, any of the Privateer stuff, these are awesome books. And sadly, even their later Iron Kingdom RPG, I don't think even comes close to touching the sheer amount of stuff in these books. So like this book, we have like the way the calendar works, all the names of the days, the weeks, the months, the years, the various seasons of how everything plays out, the various human races and ethnicities of the Iron Kingdoms, which is actually kind of cool. You've got the Cossites, the Cards, the Skirov, I don't remember them, the Umbrians, I remember. You get into the various non-humans, the Ruliks, the Goblins, the Iosans, the Ogrons, stinkingness. My personal favorites, the Trollkins. We've got all kinds of sample names on how to come up with this stuff. I mean, there's just really fun stuff. And then you get into all the various countries and factions and good old motherland of Khador. And, you get into the typical classes, which if you've played enough of the tabletop games, some of these should look awfully familiar to you. Goblin Tinkerers, Fell Callers. I mean, everything that was in the tabletop game, I mean the war game, obviously, it's all in here too. If you want to play a Signarian Rifleman or a Pistolier or a Rulik second floor man or whatever they're called, building up a Warcaster of some kind, and then all the crazy stats, freebooters. We get into all the various interesting weapons and gear of the Iron Kingdoms. This is still in the character guide. You get into the whole cosmology and the religions, of course, with Menoth in there. The Rulik Pantheon. Good old Torek. Get into circles, magic. I don't even know if they have anything about the Ouroboros guys. I mean, they've got their own, you know, set of spells and everything. And there's some fun stuff in here. I don't think this is my favorite one, though. I actually think it's the World Guide. The World Guide is pretty crazy because for an RPG book, there is literally nothing in there related to gameplay. Nothing. There's absolutely no stats in here at all. To pick a big old swig of coffee here. Everything in this book is nothing but background fluff. 100%. Now, it's got some cool story ideas and, you know, adventure hooks and stuff. There's tables in here all about the various kingdoms. I mean, if the player book doesn't have enough of that background stuff, this book is absolutely nothing but that. It is just page after page of text on various places, things that are happening there. I mean, you could take this and for a skilled dungeon master type person, GM, DM, whatever initials you want to give it, you could absolutely turn this into a fully functioning tabletop world. They've got everything you need, you know, and like the old Warhammer books, it's got the whole history of everything going on. Torek and the Lich Lords, we must be in Crick's areas. Good old Cricks. I like Crick's undead stuff. I gotta say, I'm looking forward to trying those new figures. I haven't picked up any of the Cricks yet, but they were never one of my favorite factions. Khador forever. Although the Rulix stuff was always kind of cool. It's kind of World War I aesthetic. You have this ridiculous appendix in the back of all the people that get mentioned within the book, pages that they're mentioned on, who they are, what they are, whether they're Trollkin, human, days they were around, years, it's all kind of stuff. It's nuts. A lot of fun in this one. Still not as fun as the Monsternomicons, of which there were two. I'm pretty sure there's two. I feel like number 2 had all the Scorn stuff in it. And again, this one's a little bit more gamey, because you have, you know, all the stats that you need. But it's all written from the viewpoint of, oh, what was the guy's name? It was a famous, it's a character, like a Monster Hunter researcher guy. And I know they have a solo model of him. Pendrake. I should know that. That is so Bernie Wrightson-esque. I mean, look at the way that the books are designed. This is like straight out of Wrightson's Frankenstein. Obviously, it's not Wrightson, because I don't even know if he was alive anymore. That'd be crazy if it was. I would be absolutely ecstatic. I am a big, huge Bernie Wrightson fan. Now I want to check that out. I am not seeing anything about illustrations by Ron Spencer, did it? I don't know. I'm curious who drew that now. Let me get into the typical random creatures running around. Well, these aren't very Iron Kingdoms-ish yet. Blighted dragons. The Pharaoh. And not like the Egyptian one. The Pharaoh are all the pig people. The Gorex. Living in the jungles and forests. Worshipping the serpent. The Ouroboros. Gremlins. That makes me think Ron Spencer artwork. I don't know why. The Infernals, who actually eventually got their own army. Umbral Reavers. Surprisingly, I don't think there's any Orgoth stuff in here. Oh, look at me, I'm in this. Stupid Winter Elves. I always liked the Mechanothralls. They were some of the coolest Crick stuff. Rusalkas. The Satixis. I do like the fact that a lot of this stuff did in fact end up becoming figurines in the actual tabletop game. Now, they just have a little bit about the Scorn. I want to say it's the second book, then, that had a big, long thing about all of the Scorn culture. And oh, there's the Tharn. I knew they were in one of these books. Their whole feral shifting. What's sad is that as I turn every page, I can hear the binding of this book creaking, which just makes me sad. It's seen better days, and it's definitely been well loved and well read. But like I said, I'm personally just in the mood to get back into the Iron Kingdom stuff, which is why I busted these out. And while, you know, gameplay-wise, they may be a little bit out of date, to me, as a gaming RPG layman, I felt that the rules here being, you know, obviously 3.5 D&D rules, it's a lot easier for me to comprehend, being somewhat familiar with how D&D works and kind of getting into the 4th edition stuff and even learning the rules, and then everybody flaked out and didn't want to play. And then learning the rules for 5th, because my kid was going to the D&D club at school, and then COVID hit and he stopped doing that, and nobody wanted to play once more. But I found the rules a lot more easier to comprehend than the actual Iron Kingdom RPG. And the fact that, you know, you get a lot of the background stuff in these books, which is still absolutely pertinent and relevant to the game, even though it's in its 4th stage at this point and is quite a bit different than how things started as they've continued to progress the storyline. It's just kind of neat to go back and visit these. So, like I said, if you're into the Warmachine stuff, we will be having some of that on soon. I've got a major backlog of things that I have built that need to get filmed. If you're watching this when it first went up. Hopefully they're all up by the time if you're watching this 6 months from now. But anyway, these books, obviously being, you know, 15, 18 years old at this point, older than my own children, they're going to be a little bit of a challenge to find. So if you're interested, I'd say hunt them down. One of the nice things about a lot of these things is as people switch gaming systems, get rid of old books, you are able to find a lot of these for a reasonable price online. So with that, happy hunting to those of you who want to track some of these down. And again, even if you're not into the game play, and I'll be honest, I got really sick of 2.0 Warmachine. It got to be math machine for me, and I couldn't take it. Too much to keep track of. I like a good, easy, simple roll and hit, and let's move the game on. But I absolutely love the background lore, and I think if you're interested in any of that, I know this is a little bit out of date, but considering just how relevant a lot of this stuff is still, and the implications that some of the things happen in these books that they're still having play out, I think that's kind of cool, almost 20 years on. So, good luck if you're interested in those. And with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.